Welcome back to Tam. Today, bagel dogs with challah dough. They are adorable, delicious, a fan favorite around here. We're changing up Shabbat. It's been a long haul. It's been a difficult time. And I want to introduce some fun, really different ideas for Shabbat. So I've taken the regular challah dough that I make challah with all the time, and I've wrapped it around. What I have here is chicken hot dogs. You could do vegetarian hot dogs. You could do all beef hot dogs, whatever works for you. But these are such a favorite in my house, and I'm going to welcome in Shabbat this week with these guys. People are gonna love them. So stick around. Right now, I'm gonna talk you through making my go-to fail-safe challah dough, and then we're gonna wrap it around some hot dogs. We're gonna boil it in water to make it that bagel texture, and then we're gonna bake them. And I don't know if I could wait for Shabbat to eat them. So right now, hot dog, bagel, challah, rolls. I'm not even sure what we're calling them anymore. It's been so long since I've made my own challah, so I'm really excited. It's really good to do things you love and to remember you love them, because I seem to have forgotten. All right, so I have here 1 kilo, 670 grams of flour. The minimum amount of flour you need to make a blessing, according to some Jewish rabbinical sources, is 1 kilo, 666 grams. I just rounded it to 167. If you want to make a blessing on your challah and you want to do it according to rabbinical sources, 1666 is the minimum. Moving on to the recipe itself. I'm adding to this 180 grams of granulated sugar. 35 grams of dry active yeast is going in there, and I'm going to give it all a good mix. Yes, oh my goodness, I love making challah. It's been too long. To that, I'm adding 30 grams of table salt. Whoop, that was loud. All right, give it all a mix. I'm going to make a well in the center and add most, but not all, of my dry ingredients. So in there goes 90 mil of oil. And don't worry, all the measurements are in cups as well. 2 eggs, which I have checked, and 3/4 of my water. I have a liter of water here, so I'm gonna add 3/4 of it, and start mixing. So it's going to make a really shaggy dough initially. My top tip here is keep one hand clean. I do that by ensuring that that's the hand that holds the bowl, and just bring everything together. Maybe I needed a bigger bowl. It's been so long, I've forgotten. All right, so I still have a very, very shaggy mix, and I'm gonna keep on mixing until my dough comes together, and then I'll see if I need to add more of my water. I probably will, but I find it much easier to add water than to work with a very wet dough. That there are people who work with wet doughs and they work with them brilliantly. Not my skill. I work much, much better adding as I go along. So as you can see, very, very shaggy, super crazy shaggy. I'm gonna start adding a little more water at a time until it all just comes together. My shaggy dough has come together. You can see it's a shaggy mess. It's time to dump it out onto the surface. And here's the deal. You need to work pretty hard at the whole kneading thing. Just moving it around like so isn't gonna get you anywhere. You really need to work the dough. So imagine that the dough is a muscle, and that the muscles are made up of gluten. So what you want to do is build up those gluten strands. And just as you would build up muscle, you kind of do exercises that tear the muscle a bit, and then when the muscle grows back, it grows back stronger. And the same thing is going to happen with the gluten. We're going to tear it as such. So I'm gonna pull away and it's gonna tear a bit, and I'm gonna bring it back together and tear and bring back together. And the more I do this, the smoother and more elastic the dough will get until we have a very smooth dough. This takes about 10 minutes of like really active time. As much as possible, I'm gonna try not to add more flour. I've got a bench scraper that's gonna help me along. It's tough, so if you need to add more flour, do so, but for the best challah, avoid adding any more flour at this point. So I'm gonna need about 10 minutes building up that gluten until we have a beautiful dough. My challah is kneaded. So how do you know if it's kneaded? There's this thing called the window pane test. So basically you break off a piece. This works with any bread that you want to make sure that you've developed the gluten in it, and you start stretching it. If you could stretch it enough that you can see light through it and it's still holding, like not tearing as such, I can see light through my dough, no problem. And it's not tearing, that means I've developed enough gluten, it's strong enough to keep on stretching without tearing, and thin enough. So that means my gluten has been developed. I've got a bowl here, I've lightly oiled. I'm going to add my dough to it. I'm gonna cover it well. I'm gonna let it rise for at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half. My kitchen's really cold this morning. So it really depends on the temperature in your kitchen. So put your dough in, let it rise, double in size. Our dough has risen, check it out, double the size. I'm going to divide it up now into smaller portions. So for our hot dog, our bagel hot dog challah, I'm gonna do 35-gram pieces. That's just the right size to wrap around a regular hot dog. And the rest of the challah, I'm going to divide as I usually do for making regular challah. I'm gonna take a portion of challah out and make my blessing at this point. And then we're going to start dividing out. Challah likes to rest. So I'm gonna divide everything and let it rest, and I'm gonna make my blessing. So it's time to make these guys, our bagel dogs. So what I'm doing is I'm rolling out one of my pieces of 35 to 40 grams of flour. I'm rolling it into a thin strip, and then I'm going to wrap the dough around the hot dog, sausage, whatever you call it. It's easier to do on the surface, but I want to show you. So basically, wrap it around, and there you are. So I'm gonna wrap them all. Here I have a big pot of water boiling. When it comes to the boil, I'm gonna add my salt and baking soda, and I'm gonna boil these guys just for 30 seconds in that water, so we get that bagel feel to them on the outside. What boiling them in water does is that it inhibits the yeast on the surface of the dough from rising, and you get that glossy, chewy texture to your challah dough. So I'm gonna keep on rolling up my hot dogs in dough. Oh my goodness, I love this dish. Okay, time to get moving. My water is boiling, my hot dogs are wrapped in dough, so I'm gonna add to my boiling water a heaped teaspoon of baking soda. Woo, there it goes. And half a teaspoon of salt. Some of it ended up on the plate. And now I'm going to drop my wrapped up hot dogs in the water for about 30 seconds. So I'll do like 3 at a time. Maybe 4. That'll give me enough time to let them do their thing and scoop them out. So 30 seconds is all it takes, and here we go. One of them floated to the top. It gets all like craggly on the outside. Can you see that? And then straight onto my baking tray, and they've all floated up to the top, which is my indication that they are ready to come out of the water. Now here, this is key. You have to sprinkle them with whatever coating as soon as they come out of the water. I've got sesame seeds because my kids love sesame bagels. So the only way the sesame seeds are gonna adhere is while there's still a little bit of moisture from the water, here, let me show you, on the surface of the dough. So we're gonna keep on boiling them all for about 30 seconds, putting them on the tray, sprinkling them immediately with whatever topping you are after. And then once they're all done, they're gonna go into the oven. So let me get on boiling, scooping out, and sprinkling away. All my hot dog bagels are wrapped up, boiled, sprinkled. I have my oven at 190 degrees Celsius, which is 375 Fahrenheit, and I'm gonna bake these for about 20 to 25 minutes until they're golden brown on the outside. Oh my goodness, okay. Into the oven we go. While these cook, I'm gonna keep on braiding / plaiting the rest of my dough for regular challahs. It's been 25 minutes and my hot dog bagel challah things are out. How stunning are these? I am so excited. My kids are gonna be over the moon. I'm pretty much over the moon. I know things are so rough currently, but make something that makes you smile. Wishing everyone a wonderful Shabbat ahead, filled with your family, your friends, whomever is with you, be it close or nearby, and bring some hot dog challahs to the table. How adorable are these? See y'all soon and have a beautiful Shabbat.